Welcome back to page 121. Well, since I'm wearing the bowling shirt of destiny and got the Greyhawk map behind me, I guess I want to talk D&D today. We're going to be talking something coming out of the Dungeon Master Guide. Actually, we're going to talk about a couple of somethings. We're going to take a look at a couple of magic robes that are brought out in the Dungeon Master Guide and some subtleties to them that I know I had kind of forgotten about until I reread them recently, and that I just want to call out how they can affect your game. I've always liked the magic robes in the game, and I'm going to give a couple of tips on maybe when to give them out, when not to give them out in your game. Also, just a friendly reminder, I'm still doing looking for subscribers. About half my views still come from non-subscribers, so come on in. We talk about games here a lot. And I also am running a Patreon. I'm trying to upgrade my electronics a little bit, my backgrounds, just to vary it up a little bit. So if there's anything you can do to help out on that, please take a look at it. That's it for the commercial. Today we're going to take a look at some magic robes from the Dungeon Master Guide on page 121. All right, magical robes. I'm going to be pulling out just 3 out of the Dungeon Master Guide. It's actually the first 3, and that's just kind of a coincidence. They're the 3 I wanted to discuss today. I'm not saying I won't take a look at the others sometime down the line, but for today I'm just going to take a look at the Robe of the Archmagi, Robe of Blending, and the Robe of Eyes. All 3 of these are very powerful, and you got to be careful when you give them out. There's also a couple other robes, the Robe of Powerlessness, the Robe of Scintillating Colors, and the Robe of Useful Items. I'm not going to be looking at those today. So first and foremost, the Robe of the Archmagi. Normal looking garment can be white, 40%, good alignment, gray, 30%, neutral, neither good nor evil, or black, 25%, that would be evil alignment. The wearer gains the following powers. It serves as armor class 5. The robe confers 5% magic resistance, +1 to saving throws, and it reduces magic resistance and or saving throws by 20% or -4 when the wearer casts any of the following spells: Charm Monster, Charm Person, Friends, Hold Monster, Hold Person, Polymorph Other, and Suggestion. The color of the Robe of the Archmagi can't be determined until put on, because that's very typical of old D&D. If a white robe is donned by an evil wizard or vice versa, you take 11 die 4 plus 7 points of damage immediately, which is just a lot of damage to an MU, and lose 18,000 to 51,000 experience points. An evil or good magic user putting on a neutral robe incurs 6 to 24 hit points of damage and 6,000 to 24,000 experience points. So basically whatever the damage you take is multiplied by 1,000. So that's a pretty devastating hit. And if you are good alignment and you put on the neutral robe and you decide you're going to take the hit and keep the robe on, the robe will generally start moving you toward neutral alignment. It's all pretty interesting stuff. What I want to talk about mostly is the powers. Armor class 5, that's not bad, but when you can add a Ring of Protection or Cloak of Protection to that, an armor spell for another +1 place to armor class, and your dexterity, you can get down to 0 in a relative hurry. 5% magic resistance. Yes, 5% MR, one of the few things in the core rules that gives magic resistance to player characters. 5% is kind of a gateway, because remember, anything under 11th level casting adds to the magic resistance. For instance, wand casts at 6th level. So if it's a 6th level Wand of Lightning Bolts and it's cast at a guy who has 5% MR, 11 minus 6 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 5 is 30. He has 30% magic resistance to that wand. If you didn't follow my math there, I did a video a few weeks ago about magic resistance. I recommend take a look at that, but it's definitely a gateway and not one to be given early. +1 to saving throws, that's nice, that's fine. And then reducing the magic resistance or saving throws by 20% or -4 for these various spells. Charm Monster, Charm Person at a -4 at even medium levels, even 8th, 9th level, that can be very, very potent. Hold Person, a spell you get at 7th level, is already, if you target a single target with it, it's saving at -3. You stack that with the -4 here, and you're up to a -7. So you could have a wizard throwing a spell with a -7 saving throw that completely incapacitates the target. Even if he's throwing it at multiple targets, incurring a -4 for multiple targets is not great. And 1 to 3 targets is still a -1. So there's a lot there that could skew your game very quickly. Your big bad evil guy for a 7th level group, if you've got a mage with a Robe of the Archmagi and a hold person in there, and your big bad evil guy falls into the category of person, that could be a problem. So you really want to consider when you give this magic item out. I recommend not at all before 10th, really. This is a high power magic item to me. I would not really consider giving it out before 10th. Hold monster, you're in the exact same boat. You get that at 9th level. You get a lot more things you can hold with it, with a -3 for one target becoming a -7. So that's a big deal. The -20% magic resistance, also not to be ignored. You get a lot of stuff as you get up in levels that have magic resistance. You're going to be cutting down 20%. If you were, for instance, to be wearing these robes and throw a charm person on an elf who has 90% magic resistance to being charmed, I would take that down, and I have taken that down 20%. So his 90% becomes a 70% resistance. Similarly, a half elf that is 30% resistant would lose 20%. He'd only have 10% resistance to a charm or a sleep, for that matter, depending on their level. So you got to be careful with this magic item. I would not be too quick to give it out. It's got a nice stopper in there. If it's a black robe and you know a good mage puts it on, that's a lot of points of damage. You're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 to 40 points of damage on average, with a loss of about 35,000 corresponding hit points or experience points. That's really going to mess up your average magic user. Again, that's why I would do it higher level. I don't go out of my way, by the way, to stick it to players by putting in stuff that is necessarily going to harm them physically or otherwise. If I'm running a bigger group or if it's an open table, I stick those in all the time. In a campaign, I'll put them in once in a while just to keep everybody on their toes. But I've found that over the years, players do get tired of stuff, and then they get overly cautious. They don't want to pick up that +1 dagger because it might be cursed. Just my thinking. So Robes of the Archmagi, caution. I would say 10th or up. Robe of Blending. The ordinary appearing robe cannot be detected by magical means. Once put on, the wearer can detect a Dweomer and know the garment has very special properties. A Robe of Blending enables its wearer to appear to be part of a rock wall, a plant, a creature of another sort, whatever is appropriate. Coloration, form, and even odor are produced by the robe, although it will not make its wearer appear to be more than twice or 1/2 their normal height, and it does not empower language or noise capabilities, either understanding or imitating. In situations where several different forms are appropriate, the wearer is obliged to state which form he chooses. Creatures with exceptional intelligence, 15 or better, have a 1% chance per intelligence point when they get within 3 inches of this person of detecting that something's going on with the robe. They can tell if you're made yourself look like an orc, they can tell that you're not really an orc. Creatures with low intelligence or better but have higher hit dice get a similar type of thing. I do that with the Robe of Blending. I've only given out a handful of these simply because while the Robe Blending's got some nice stuff, the Cloak of Elvenkind does much the exact same thing as the Robe of Blending without the percentage chance of being detected. And the Hat of Disguise can make you appear to be an orc, for instance, without the percentage chance to be detected. The Robe of Blending, you have a chance of suffering that, being detected as someone who is disguised. So it's a good magic item. This would be one that I might give out as low as like 5th level, because it does not add all that much to the player, but it could add a lot to your actual role playing. So this is one I would consider giving out maybe at lower levels. It's one of the reasons I chose to look at it today. And the third one, Robe of Eyes. This garment is most valuable, though it appears as a normal robe till it's put on, for its wearer is able to see in all directions at the same moment due to scores of magical eyes which adorn the robe. The wearer is empowered with infravision to 120 feet, ultravision abilities, and the power to see displaced or out-of-phase objects and creatures in their actual positions. So you can see your target exactly where it is. If it's phased somehow like a phase spider, you can see it exactly where it is. The Robe of Eyes sees all forms of invisible things out to 240 feet normal vision or 120 for infravision or ultravision. Of course, solid objects can obstruct the robe, but not even improved invisibility works against the robe. The robe does not see through illusions, and it cannot spot astral or ethereal things. And secret doors cannot be seen with this either, but creatures camouflaged or hidden in shadows are easily detected. So ambush or surprise of a character wearing a robe of eyes is impossible. Furthermore, the robe enables its wearer to track as if it were a 12th level ranger. A light spell thrown directly on the robe of eyes will blind it for 1 to 3 rounds, a continual light for 2 to 8 rounds. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there, so I'll start at the top. You put this thing on, and you can see in all directions. In our game, that is a sphere. So if I'm flying, I can see in a sphere every direction all around me wearing the robe of eyes. If I'm walking on the ground, I can see directly above me as well, because it says it does see all. It's not a horizontal thing. It's a sphere or a hemisphere, depending on your physical position. It can see things that are displaced, and it can see things that are invisible. The invisible is the big deal here. That ruins the 2nd level MU spell, the Ring of Invisibility, and quite a few other things. So again, I would recommend this as a very high level offering for a mage. Again, 10th level or higher before I'd give this guy out. Your chance at surprise for the entire party pretty much goes in the dumper when someone's wearing a robe of eyes. As far as the tracking as 12th level ranger, that didn't mean anything until Unearthed Arcana came out in 1985, and now we have percentages based on level for tracking, so that's also handy. The light spell thrown on the robe, of course, that has to first get through any MR that the creature or character might have, but it also has to, the wearer of the robes has to fail their saving throw. Otherwise, it's no effect whatsoever. However, if it gets through and MR is not there or doesn't make its percentage, and if the saving throw is failed, I don't allow the robe to be blinded. I make the wearer be blinded. The robe and the wearer are both blinded, kind of a psychic shock type situation. So that can be a big deal. So if you've got a big bad evil guy and he's wearing this robe of eyes, and the players need a little way out of this, that might be a way to do it. Is just put him out there and then just, whoopsie, he failed his saving throw. Look at that, he's blind. Now, I would only do that if it was something that I had grossly underestimated how powerful my creature was versus the party, or if they were just having a bad night, just bad luck, and I was feeling sorry for them, I might go ahead and allow something like that to happen. But putting these on an NPC mage, these Robe of Eyes, incredibly powerful. Robe of the Archmagi, common for me to put on my higher level evil mages. Black Robe, of course. So, and then Robe of Blending, like I said, that's the only one of these three I feel you could give out probably as early as like 5th or 6th level. It's got really nice powers and tremendous role-playing stuff. The idea of the mage disguising himself as a small ogre and going in amongst a group of ogres and having a chance of actually getting found out for what he really is and being in there by himself with all those ogres, that's just great role-playing opportunity. So the Robe of Blending I see as a great opportunity for role-playing. The Robe of the Archmagi and the Robe of Eyes, to me, you're getting into power gaming there. You're getting some really strong stuff that can skew your game if you give it out too early. So that's really all I've got to say on these 3 magical robes. If you want me to take a look at the other robes, the powerlessness, scintillating colors, and useful items, I can in a future video. Let me know. Or if there's other robes from Encyclopedia Magica that you like, you would like me to take a look at, I can. I do want to do one mention of a spoof from Dragon Magazine years ago, Robe of Blending, in their April Fool's issue. The blending in this case is you put it on and millions of little teeth inside the robe spin around and cause you damage like you're in a blender. It was a robe of blending. That was the joke. So that was a little April Fool's gag that was in the old Dragon. It's in Encyclopedia Magica, so go ahead and look it up. It's in there. That's all I've got to say today. Thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe. Please tell your friends. And remember the subscription drive and the Patreon. And I'll see you next time on page 121.